back to Nerding on the Dbacks, one and only. I'm Son/Phoenix, and this is
Dad/Chris.
Yes, I love it every time. We say it every time.
So, yeah, welcome back,
right.
guys.
The shirt again.
Yeah, Nerding on the Dbacks. So, repping the brand, the pod, the show. You can check us out on Spotify, your favorite podcast player, or YouTube. We love a follow, subscribe, likes, all that great stuff. We're also on Twitter and
TikTok.
Yeah.
Get that?
So yeah, come find us.
I run the TikTok, by the way.
Yeah, you do.
It's very good.
And rocking it over there.
Yeah.
We pick up quite a few followers. It's kind of shocking, and so. I shouldn't say that. That's kind of mean. You're doing a bang up job. Not necessarily a lot to talk about. Obviously, with the holidays, we recorded one on Christmas Day, and we're a couple days late again on getting this one. We're going to be changing the schedule here going forward, being that because of Phoenix being in school and having to balance work and having a toddler at home still, which we're going to get him on the pod sometime because that's awesome.
Oh, God.
And so he's going to become our mascot. And then we, instead of trying to sit down once a week and find an hour and a half to record after, setup and breakdown, we're going to do just 2 episodes a week at about 30 minutes instead of one 60-minute episode, and think it'll be a little bit easier to make that work. So
it'll also be better for you guys because you get to learn more about Dbacks.
Well, it'll be the same amount of time, but it'll just be different. So we'll probably be releasing content on Thursday mornings and then again on Saturdays going forward. So you'll get a fill of us. Other than that, anything that you wanted to bring up, Phoenix, before we dive into our first topic?
No, not really. I mean, the baseball season's coming up with the preseason almost ending, right?
We've got about 6 weeks to pitchers and catchers reporting here in Arizona.
Yes.
All of them, half the league. So it'll be a lot of fun, obviously. So let's hop in. The first thing I want to talk about, just covering some basic stuff, some notable minor league free agents that we've signed. So there's a Twitter account, and he's got a Substack. His name is Goldie Happens. I want to shout out to Goldie Happens. He has in his Substack and on Twitter, he does a really amazing job of covering in depth these minor league signings that the D-backs have going on, and some of them I wanted to bring up, and one of these I wouldn't have even known about if it wasn't for him. So that's incredible. And it's the first one I want to talk about. So like I said, go follow him on Substack, Twitter. Goldie Happens. He's fantastic.
We love you, Goldie.
And so both the writer and the baseball player.
And the one that went into a bear's house.
Oh yeah, with the locks.
Yeah.
How clever! I like it. That's it.
Thank you.
That's why he's on the show, folks. And so So the first one is that I want to talk about is Andres Chaparro. I hope I'm getting that name right. He's a third baseman. He's only 24 years old, which is young for a minor league signing. Looks like he was probably a 40-man casualty from the Yankees.
I'm sure the Chaparros would not be offended. If you watch the second episode,
good callback.
If you watch the second episode, you would see why I said that.
And so from 2019 to 2022, he crushed the ball in the minors for the Yankees. It was absolutely incredible. This dude looked like a monster and was destined for stardom at the major league level. That includes a 158 WRC plus in 2022 at AA. And let me tell you, when you can rake like that at AA, that indicates some pretty bright future, especially when you're just 22 years old and you are raking like that at AA. That is a bright future kid. And then it fell down to 90 at AAA in 2023, and that was enough for he was coming up, needed to be added to the 40-man roster or take his walk-in papers, and he took his walk-in papers, and the D-backs, Mike Hazen doing his thing. Great signing, great under the radar signing. I didn't even notice it, wouldn't have known unless Goldie brought it up. And so he could very well be the 2025 opening day third baseman. It would not surprise me at all. He's got that kind of upside. So I hope we do see him. We may even get to see him later this season. He's not on the 40-man, but he's probably going to be one of the first position players added. And if he forces his way onto the major league roster, awesome for him.
Yeah, you didn't tell me about this when we were getting set up, but I do want to see our new free agent that we got. I think it was either Eugenio Suarez, which I said wrong in the second episode. Go watch it. Or it's Eduardo. I think it is called. He's called. It's one of those people.
Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yes. What that?
Eugenio Suarez. He's the third baseman.
I knew it. Okay.
And so
I would want to see him and see how he performs, but I would also like to see how Andreas Shapiro performs.
So Suarez has only got 2024 is his only season under contract, so he might be gone after this upcoming season anyway. I don't think he would take Suarez's spot on the roster by any means, unless Suarez got hurt. Shapiro might be the guy that they bring up to fill in for him if it's an extended injury. But other than that, we probably won't see him in the majors unless he's a September call-up. But still, he could be here 2025. I'm not saying, I don't think that's likely, but it could happen. My money is on Perdomo opening the 2025 season as the third baseman, and then keeping the seat warm for this guy if he has a good 2024 here. So another signing they made, Kevin Newman.
You could say he's a new man.
Yeah, I hope he's a new man. Actually, that's not fair. Kevin Newman's been a good, solid major league player. Just, he's, I don't know, 33, 34 years old. And at this point, he's a backup infielder. He's solid depth. And he probably starts the season with the big league team. Actually, which is great. Love Jace Peterson, but I'd probably take him on the roster over Jace Peterson. He definitely pushes Emmanuel Rivera to AAA because we're going to want Newman over Rivera for sure. And the one bright spot for Newman is he hits lefties really well, which we're going to discuss that a little bit later in the show, but that's a real benefit on this roster, and he could force himself into some action with that specific skill, and he plays solid defense. He's been a major league shortstop for most of the last 5-6 seasons of his career, and that's not too bad. You got to be a good defender to play major league shortstop for that long. Let's move on to the next guy, Tucker Barnhart. He is a left-handed hitting catcher. He's not a very good defender. Barnhart was really good up through 2021, and then 2022, 2023 as catchers and volatility happen to do. He pretty much fell apart at the plate, and his defense kind of slipped as well. I hope he is not the backup on the major league roster to Gabby. I'm concerned that he's going to be. He's really more of a AAA depth piece. He's the third guy that you would want to add at one point. But if someone gets hurt, but I don't feel like he's the guy you want taking 40 starts behind the plate for the team. And then finally, they added Logan Allen. So let's talk about Logan Allen. He's not really anything. He's very meh. He's AAA depth. I would be absolutely shocked if he ever pitched an inning for the Diamondbacks.
Oh, there you go. He's a pitcher.
Yeah.
If you didn't know the position.
Yep, and he was solid through. He's still only 26, so maybe he surprises. But he's solid through AA, then fell apart when he moved to AAA, and he has had some major league experience, but he just has never gotten it together. The reason I bring up Logan Allen is because some of you may have thought, "Wait, they got Logan Allen, that solid rookie starter from the Guardians? How did they pull that off?"
I did not think of that, but I'm sure some other people did.
So here's the thing. Logan Allen was actually drafted by the Guardians, and so was Logan Allen. They were playing in the Guardians minor league system at the same time. Logan Allen is only about 15 months older than Logan Allen, and their names are spelled exactly alike. In 2021, both of them played for the Guardians in their minor league system. And if you were not a Guardians fan, having two Logan Allens at roughly the same level of projection in the same system was kind of a confusing time. And even when I saw them sign Logan Allen, I was like, wait, which Logan Allen?
Even I'm confused.
And so we got the other Logan Allen. And, I hope he has a great season. I hope he finds whatever he had back when he was 22, 23, 24 years old. And it brings a magical season to the D-backs, but I'm not so sure that's going to happen. So that's really it. Again, shout out Goldie Happens. Go follow him, Substack, Twitter. So then the next thing I wanted to talk about, we're just going to briefly touch on this because this has been kind of talked about ad nauseum in D-backs land, and that is Zip's projections just came out a couple days ago for the D-backs.
Zip, didn't we talk about that last podcast and the podcast after that and the podcast after that? Before that, not after that.
So Zips is Szymborski's projection system. Ironically, Dan Szymborski, it's named after Dan Szymborski, whose last name actually starts with an S, but it's pronounced with a Z. And so he calls his projection system Zips instead of Sips. And frankly, that sounds better. And so, if you don't know, Dan Szymborski is a writer for Fangraphs, which is my favorite site out there for MLB league-wide as well as minors coverage. And their database of ball players is incredibly deep with all kinds of metrics that you can get lost in analyzing for days. So many people consider Zips to be the most accurate public projection model out there. Many of the not industry insiders, but industry analysts, and so public analysts. And so the algorithm projects out what each player will produce in a full season. So it doesn't necessarily account for playing time at the start. So the first thing that they do is in a full season, here's how many plate appearances that they would get, and here is what they'd be likely to produce. Then they take account into age, position, scouting grades, comparables, a whole host of factors, and they regress those numbers into playing time for the team over 162 games using a tool called depth charts. And so this then gives them how many plate appearances that they think they will have as they fit into the team over a 162 game season, not each of them playing 162 game season themselves as a projected starter. So it's actually quite rosy on the D-backs, which is awesome. I didn't.
What do you mean by rosy?
Good. Rosy means good. They are projecting the team for about an 86 win season as of right now, and that's not too bad. Projecting a team that had 84 wins last season to be an 86 win season now with just a couple of changes in personnel is pretty impressive, and shows really a lot of projected improvement from their young guys on their roster, which is kind of what the D-backs are set up for. No surprise. Nothing's particularly surprising. Jordan Lawler, which I'm going to bring him up again later in the show, is projected to be better than Geraldo Perdomo as a shortstop in 2024 already, as just a 21-year-old, which is absolutely incredible.
Make sure to remember that line when we get onto our to our next part.
Yeah.
Next parts of our show.
Yeah. So Lawler, I know people had kind of a rough taste of him in 2023. Casual fans might not be too high on him still, but you got to remember, guys, this kid is ranked a top 10 projected prospect in Major League Baseball, and he is going to be a monster. He was only 20 years old. That he even got himself up to the majors at 20 years old shows an incredible talent, and I'm so high on him. Another player that they are incredibly high on is Ketel Marte.
We've all heard of him before. That's right. He's a switch hitter, if you guys didn't know. I feel like everybody knows about him, but continue on how he's very high.
Yeah, so they think he's going to be nearly a 4-win player, a definite all-star, one of the best. Now that Mookie Betts is going to be moving to second base, probably can't stake claim to the best second baseman in the National League, but he has a shot at being the second best second baseman in the National League, which losing out to a likely future first ballot Hall of Famer as being the next best at your position, not a bad place to be. So very impressive. I have no doubts Ketel Marte can live up to that projection. And then it also projects the 2 pickups that the D-backs just got, Eugenio Suarez and Eduardo Rodriguez.
Wow, I talked to them about them before. Huh?
to be essentially what we hope for. Rodriguez is likely, and I think this is probably true. I mentioned this when we talked about the signing. I think he's probably by the end of the season going to be considered the Diamondbacks' second best pitcher, and take that mantle from Merrill Kelly. Though, I mean, honestly, all 3 of those guys are fantastic. It's an incredible three-headed approach that they've got going. And if all 3, God willing, make it through healthy to October, that's going to be an incredibly formidable pitching starting rotation to be facing in the playoffs. So can't wait to see that happen. Suarez, some people may think his numbers project to be a little ugly. They're kind of what I expected. You gotta take into account he had a big bump in his defensive numbers in 2023 that hadn't really existed prior to that, and so you probably need to account for that and regress that into being more what he was as a third baseman prior to that. Maybe he can hang on to the defensive gains. We'll find out. But most likely, he's probably a good, solid to average to slightly above average third baseman, and that's a huge improvement. I mean, that's those 2 guys alone are pretty much. 2 to 3, I would say 2 to 3 win improvements together over the replacements of what they got for production in those positions in 2023. And so that's incredible. 3-4 wins even, I would say. So that's great. They're also pretty high on the young starting pitchers, which I didn't expect. The one thing that the Diamondbacks have, not a lot of high ceiling young talent coming up from the minors for pitchers. Tommy Hunter, Ryan Nelson, Slade Caccione, those guys are fine, but none of them are big strikeout pitchers, and they're not really great at limiting walks either. Tommy Hunter and Ryan Nelson in particular are under 20% strikeout rate and over a 10% walk rate, I believe. And that's not a great recipe for success. So I hope they can turn around. They're especially high on Tommy Hunter. Check this out. I don't even know if you know this name. Does Tom Glavine mean anything to you? Tom Glavine was the comp for Tommy Hunter. He's a first ballot Hall of Fame pitcher primarily played in the 90s and 2000s. He just went in about maybe 8-9 years ago. So yeah, just that's gaudy praise. We'll see if he can keep that up. They really like Slade Caccione. They think he's probably going to be the best of those three. It's not a huge fan of Ryan Nelson, which I'm not surprised. Ryan Nelson's inputs, his peripherals were kind of ugly in 2023, despite getting all those innings. He was more of just an innings eater than a difference maker. You need those guys. They make great sixth starters, guys who can come in and fill in the fit on the major league roster when someone goes down and not hurt you, but they're not going to do much to help you. They have nice 4 or 5 year careers, and maybe Ryan Nelson can unlock something. But right now, that's kind of what he looks like. He's going to be the big bummer, and I don't think anyone's surprised by this. The system loves Dre Jameson. But of course, we all know he's going to miss all of 2023 because of UCL surgery. So
I just gotta say, the way you spell Ryan Nelson is not what you think. You're probably thinking like, oh, I know how to spell Ryan. It's actually spelled R-Y-N-E.
Yep,
It's crazy.
Ryan Nelson.
If I was his teacher, I would have been like, Ryan, not Ryan. I'll tell you that.
So
I feel like it's a very big thing to have really weird names in our podcast. Like you got Jack Peterson, you just got a bunch of people like Eugenio Suarez. Like come on, man, and like Solar, and there's just so many weird names on our podcast, but we all love them. So.
That's right.
We're just gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep trying to spell it. I'm gonna keep trying to say their name, and we'll see what happens.
So, I love it.
All right, let's get on to our next topic.
Yeah. So the next thing I want to talk about, because this is, and I get there's not a lot to talk about in the off season. So the one thing Dbacks fans just keep going on and on. It's all the conversation is who are they going to add for a bat to their lineup? They've got an obvious hole at DH, and they don't really have any great hitters off the bench. Though to be fair, the projection system is pretty high on Jake McCarthy having a nice bounce back in 2024, and he with the defense that he brings, he's really more of a fourth outfielder. But giving some reps out in left field and putting Gurriel at DH occasionally wouldn't be the worst thing. Or giving Corbin Carroll. I almost called him Corbel.
I thought you were gonna say Jamie Carroll.
Yeah, we could give him a day or two off his feet from every now and then. But so. We're going to put this, there's the split that you see up on the screen. This is career WRC plus splits differential for the top six hitters in the D-backs lineup right now. And WRC plus, for those who don't know, we talked about this before, but it's weighted runs created plus. There is just a weighted runs created. The plus just normalizes it to league average as 100. All of these guys are above 100. Like they're all somewhere between good and great MLB hitters. But they all players, almost all players have splits. Left-handed hitters usually have more dramatic splits than right-handed hitters do. and switch hitters usually have the most muted splits. But that's not always the case, as you can see. So WRC plus, a shorthand way to explain it is it's like OPS plus, which OPS plus is just taking OPS and normalizing it to what the league average is. But WRC plus weights it a little differently, incorporating weighting on base percentage a little higher than slugging percentage. And there's some other components to weighted runs created plus that gets you there, but that makes up for a large part of the difference. So usually if you go and you look up a weighted runs created plus for a player, it's going to be almost the same thing as OPS plus. So a lot of people like to cite OPS. Weighted runs created plus is pretty much the same thing as OPS, just using it on a different scale. And so to give you an idea, Carroll, as you can see, mashes right-handed pitching. And after that, you have 5 hitters in a row who all hit left-handed pitching really well.
See, this is why I said in our last episode that Jock Peterson is going to be there. Want to know why? Because you know what Dad said about Michael Brantley?
I didn't say anything about Michael Brantley. Oh, yeah, I drafted him second. I obviously lose that draft.
Yeah, he lost that draft. It's on our TikTok if you want to go hear it. Go on our TikTok, Nerding on the Dbacks. But Michael Brantley retired today or a few days ago?
Just today.
Just today.
Yeah, just a few hours ago it came out. So yeah, Michael Brantley. Yeah, this is why you see the scratch. His name is now scratched out. Unfortunately,
barely.
Yeah, you can't see it real well, but it is. There's a good strike through there, and so in order to counteract this obvious imbalance in the lineup, it's even more evident now that the D-backs would be best served if they wanted to optimize their run production. Because one thing that maybe most people don't know, having this kind of imbalance in your lineup is actually rather counterproductive and could very easily lead to an average offense league in the entire National League, because you face right-handed pitchers in 70% of your team's at-bats are going to be against right-handed pitchers. And having your team crush lefties and struggle, respective to their abilities, they're still a solid lineup versus right-handers. There's no question about that. Yeah. But they're gonna demolish lefties. They're gonna struggle a little bit against right-handers as it is. And I know a lot of people want JD Martinez. I'm not opposed to JD Martinez. I think Martinez would be great if they signed him. Fantastic. He's the best hitter left on the free agent market. Just flat out, he's the best hitter left on the free agent market. If you're looking for just 1 or 2 more seasons of just awesome hitting, JD Martinez is your guy. That said, JD Martinez is still a pretty dramatic split between lefties versus lefties and versus righties. It doesn't really, no doubt, just because JD Martinez is a stud, he's going to make the team better versus right-handed pitching, but he's going to make them even more better. It's a weird way to say that. Against left-handed pitching. And what JD Martinez does versus left-handed pitching is essentially what Jock Peterson, your boy, Jock Peterson, does versus right-handed pitching. They literally had the same expected WOBA for the last 2 seasons combined, and but Peterson does all his damage against right-handed pitching. And
he'd be good. I knew he'd be good when I saw his name and heard Jock. I just knew it.
So he has now moved to the top of my list of guys I'm interested in. Belt as well. Martinez is great. The thing is, Martinez is the best hitter out there. He's going to get shopped hard by the Toronto Blue Jays, possibly the New York Mets, The San Francisco Giants, I'm sure, are after him. Just teams with much deeper pockets that are going to outbid the D-backs. I just don't think that there's much of any chance of JD Martinez coming back. And I know a lot of it is just the romance of the one half season. And it was one of the greatest half seasons in Major League Baseball history that Martinez put up after that trade. Or I should say one of the best two-month stretches any player has ever put up in Major League history after he got traded here to the Dbacks. But that doesn't really impact my opinion of what he can bring to the table in 2024. And I just really think, seeing this disparity, this imbalance in how the lineup is constructed right now just makes it more obvious that getting a right-handed masher in there like Jock Peterson, like Brandon Belt, because both of them, as good as a hitter, and like I said, JD Martinez is the best hitter left on the market. As good of a hitter as he is, both Peterson and Belt are going to out-hit Martinez versus right-handed pitching.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you see the WRC plus. I mean, it really speaks for itself here, and the imbalance is absolutely crazy. I mean, what is there? One more guy on the D-backs that can hit another that can hit against right-handers.
Alec Thomas. It looks like he's probably going to be a solid batter against right-handers, but that's literally, and Geraldo Perdomo, I guess, it can hit. He's a right-handed hitter who has what's called reverse splits, kind of like Justin Turner, who you see, who's really more of a balanced hitter. He doesn't really have a weak side. I guess we'll address Perdomo, then I'll go to Turner. Perdomo has reverse splits, but he's also got a short track record in the majors, and so I can't imagine that's going to hold over his career, and he's almost certainly going to finish being a better hitter versus lefties when we look back at his career in 8-10 years. And so hopefully longer than that. He's only 24. I shouldn't be so disrespectful. Maybe 10-12 years, we'll look back at Perdomo's career and see he was a better hitter against lefties. It's just starting this way. And so, but Alec Thomas could be a weapon against righties for sure. But that's still only two guys.
Yeah, you definitely need a third guy who can smash right-handed. Because if a right-handed pitcher comes up to the mound, and you have
which is going to be 70% of the at bats,
and you have all these guys who can hit left-handers. I mean, and you only have two guys who can hit right-handers pretty well. It's gonna be it's gonna be a struggle to get points on the board, and you can't really rely on two guys. And if we just add another guy in there who can just smash right-handers, I feel like it would be a very good fit for the Diamondbacks lineup here.
And just because these guys are better against left-handers, I don't mean to infer that they're not still solid against righties. All of them still are average to above average hitters versus are slightly above average hitters against righties. Most of them are much better versus lefties. That's all. And so they're going to hit lefties better than righties. But I'd rather have a team that hits righties better than lefties, because you're going to be facing them so much more often. So I would, hopefully they, again, would not be sad at all. I don't want that to come out this way. We would get JD Martinez. But Peterson or Belt seem, with the current iteration of the roster, to be a better fit for what the Diamondbacks want to accomplish in 2024. And then you got Soler. I just want to put out there, I'm out on Jorge Soler. Jorge Soler, especially against right-handed pitching, this is going to shock most people. Jorge Soler has a dangerously close to league average career OPS versus right-handed pitchers. He makes his money off of lefties, and he's really not even that good. He has got the lowest career OPS of all of the free agents left on the market, all of these free agent bats, he's got the lowest OPS. It's not that much higher than Tommy Pham. It's kind of shocking. And he's just a very high, he hits the ball a ton. He hits a lot of home runs, but he doesn't do a lot outside of that, and he's not a good fielder. I don't get the appeal. Turner, he's 39 years old. He's been regressing for pretty much 5 straight seasons now, and he looks like the bottom is about to fall out. He looks like Nelson Cruz going into the 2022 season, where he wasn't even as good as Nelson Cruz in the seasons leading up, as Nelson Cruz was in 2019, 2020, 2021. And he's already fallen further than Cruz did. And 2022, which was his age 41 season, the bottom just fell out on Nelson Cruz, and Justin Turner is looking like he's following pretty much the same trajectory, except for it's probably going to happen this upcoming season at his age 39, maybe 40. I don't want to be the team having to roster him and keep him in the lineup because when he's struggling to just hit league average. And so that's my position on Turner. I'd take him on a 1 in 7 year contract, considering he declined player option for $13 million with the Boston Red Sox. I just can't imagine that he's interested in taking anything less than $13 million, which I don't want to be the team that gives him that. I think you'd be crazy to give him $13 million. I actually can't believe that he took that he declined that option. It's kind of crazy. Finally, let's move on.
All right. So
this is what we've been wanting to do. We've talked about this since we started the podcast.
So I want to introduce it into a fun way. So at school today, there was this guy who was like, "Who are the Dbacks?" And all I said was, "Did you really just say that?"
Yeah. Did you really just say that?
That is our new game. It is. It's really fun.
Did you really just say that?
There you go.
Yep, that's right. So we've got this game that we're going to play. It's called Did You Really Just Say That? So here's how it's going to work. We are going to make 3 predictions each. They've got to be quantifiable. We're going to keep track, because this is a baseball show, we're going to keep track of all the predictions, and we're going to track them as hits / batting average, and then a prediction that seems... all of the predictions have to be kind of unlikely to happen. This is baseball.
Yeah.
Singles are, singles, you bat 300, you're doing great. So those singles, you probably want like a 40% chance, no higher than 50% chance of that actually coming true. Doubles are going to be like those 20 to 30% chance of coming true. Home runs, that less than 20% chance of coming true. And so...
guess who has a home run?
So we'll agree on the type of outcome of each prediction and what it's worth when we make it. We might throw it out to the audience occasionally for a vote, for a tiebreaker. So if that happens, we hope you'll join us. And then in the future, we also would like to have guest predictors on each show to make their own predictions. So let us know if you're interested in joining one day. Let's see what you think. So
You said vor instead of vote. I'm just pointing that out.
I wrote vor. I said vote.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I sorry. He has this thing that he writes up all the time, and I'm sorry. I just like it. It really came to me. I really wanted to say it, but
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure Dad would be like, "Did you really just say that?" But
Did you really just say that?
Did you really just say that?
do you wanna flip a coin to see who goes first?
No, you could go first. It really doesn't matter.
Okay, I'll go first then. So I'll start from the bottom here. Okay. So for my first prediction, I will say Corbin Carroll will have 10 triples at the end of the season. Now, I went to go search this up to see how many triples he had the last season, and he had 10 triples last season. Now, 10 triples is really hard to get, I feel like. So
That's right. Because how many players in all of Major League Baseball had 10 triples?
Like 2.
2. There were 2.
There were 2. So
Carroll was one of them.
if he does it again, I would be really surprised. And
I think that is a solid double, kid. That's a solid double. We'll enter that into the book as a solid double. Of course, we're not going to be able to write that one off until either he hits it or the season's over. So it's going to be a while
for sure.
to get that prediction. So, yeah, I love that prediction. That would be awesome if he did it.
I would love it if he did it.
That's going to be hard to achieve, but it's in there. Obviously, he did it as a rookie. He can certainly do it again.
Yeah, he could. You could. Whoa, what's it? He could for sure do it again.
That's right.
He really said that? Yes.
I really said that.
So yeah, let's see. Next up, I'll take my first prediction. So my first prediction is we just had Zips come out. So on the back of Zips and them being projected for 86 wins, I am going to come out and say, while I think the D-backs are likely to be the second highest favorite in the NL West to win the NL West, I actually think they're going to be projected to be finished third in the NL West by Fangraphs. And the reason I say that is the Padres were projected to be a 98 win team and the best team in baseball last season by Fangraphs. And I just, despite losing Jorge Soler and losing a bunch of their pitchers, including Blake Snell. I
love how your voice went weird there. It made me laugh so hard.
They lost their entire starting rotation except for Yu Darvish. I still think that with a full season projected of Fernando Tatis and the kind of season that he put up, I think he will be able to, I think they'll still be projected to finish by Fangraphs ahead of the D-backs. It's going to be very close, but I think the D-backs will probably be, their final projection will probably be around 86 or 87 wins. And I think the Padres are probably going to be closer to like 88 to 90 wins. And so
I would also say that's a double. I mean, that's just me.
I just said that.
He just said that.
So yeah, that's what I think we'll see come opening day. Unless there's, of course, any big injuries are going to throw this whole thing in this whole. I mean, all of these predictions into disarray, but that one especially. So
yeah, if Corbin Carroll gets injured, I'm just like.
that secures my prediction. But yeah, so take it away, Phoenix. What's your second prediction?
All right, my second prediction. I feel like this is a very good one. So the D-backs will sign or trade one lefty. Well, they will sign or they will get a lefty by the end of the preseason. Major league, not minor league.
Yeah, you just said that.
I really said that.
I think so. By lefty, you mean a lefty hitter or a lefty pitcher?
My bad. That's
So a left-handed hitter or a left-handed pitcher. And which I love this. This is an ingenious prediction. You're baking, and they have to be signed. Doesn't have to be signed. They could be traded for.
Yes.
They need to be we'll say they need to be on the 40-man roster. They have to be 40-man. They have to be put on the 40-man roster. So like obviously the D-backs just signed Tucker Barnhart, who's a lefty. They just signed Logan Allen, who's a lefty. But now those guys are on the 40-man roster. Yes. Those are minor league signings. They need to be. He needs to be a major league player. That's what you're saying?
Yes. That is what I'm
Perfect.
saying.
All right. I'm gonna give that one a single. I think there's a fairly good chance that happens, but still unlikely. Certainly. But I think that's a good one.
That's right. You just said that.
So we're gonna.
I did say that.
So we're gonna move on to my second prediction. My second prediction that I'm gonna make is the D-backs will acquire at least 2 players on major league contracts. By major league contracts, I don't literally mean major league. I mean they're going to be 2 players who need to be added to the 40-man roster the day that they are acquired. So they'll acquire at least 2 more players to add to their major league roster before opening day. And I'm going to say, I actually feel like this one is probably a single as well, just like yours. I think I wouldn't say, I still think it's a less than 50% chance, but I think it's like a 40-60 chance that they sign 2 more guys. I think they're obviously going to sign a bat. There's too much chatter about them signing a bat to not sign a bat. And then it wouldn't surprise me if they add a veteran reliever, a good solid catcher, someone more reliable than Tucker Barnhart, or a 5th starter. I wouldn't be surprised by any of those by any means. So so that's what I have to say.
I believe everything you just said.
I really do. So next up, your third and final prediction.
I like this one. So, Lourdes Gurriel, my boy.
Your boy.
He will have 27 home runs at the end of 2024. Now, he had, I think, about 25 home runs at the end of his last season. So this will be a career high for him.
This would be a career high.
Yes, this would be a career high.
Definitely. And, as we've discussed,
Did he really say that?
he's your boy. And I think this is achievable. I don't think it's likely. And so for this one, because he's a 31-year-old player, and he's never accomplished this before, I'm definitely going to say this one's a home run.
Yeah.
Ironically, a home run prediction is a home run. So I think that's awesome.
What I was going for.
If he does that, the D-backs are really going to have a monster middle of the lineup. They are going to put up good runs, unless he is doing it because he's selling completely out for power. And
If he does it, I'm going to style my hair and dye it purple.
Yeah, you are. I mean, you might do that anyway.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. So, all right. So my last prediction for our inaugural. Did you really just say that?
You said this
game?
one before.
Yep. And so this is going back to the Zips predictions once more. I actually believe Zips didn't put this in there, but I think that Jordan Lawler will finish the 2024 season with more plate appearances than Geraldo Perdomo.
God, he just said that.
Yeah. I think he's going to come in and he is going to light the world on fire in April at AAA, and he is going to force his way into that starting role, which at shortstop. And the only way that I don't see this happening is if Geraldo Perdomo comes out on fire himself at the major league level. At 24 years old, he might, but man, his batted ball metrics just do not look good. Perdomo, I mean, and he's a good, solid shortstop on the defensive side, but he really is best suited as a utility infielder. And I think that this prediction is probably a home run, because I actually don't think that this will likely happen, but I want to predict it because I'd love to see it. If Jordan Lawler finishes the season with more plate appearances than Geraldo Perdomo, that means the D-backs have their 2 former prospects, now MLB studs, in their lineup in Corbin Carroll and Jordan Lawler, the 2-headed monster in the lineup that we will get to see for years to come. And that's going to be so much fun. So I'm doing this one just because I want to will this into existence. I want to see Corbin Carroll and Jordan Lawler on the field together, just crushing it, putting up 3-win seasons. Lawler put up a 3-win season as a rookie if he gets enough playing time, and Carroll doing his 4/5 win season again, sort of thing. And man, it would be great. What an exciting season if Jordan Lawler came out of 2024 on fire and came up to Major League Baseball and didn't skip a beat this time. Yeah. So what do you think? Would you agree? I
feel I agree with the home run. I would say it's a third base, but I will go with the home run for now. But
I actually think Perdomo's a lock for probably 450 plate appearances this season, and I think Lawler's probably more likely to get 250 to 300, but I want to see this happen. So that's my prediction. Jordan Lawler, he will get more plate appearances than Geraldo Perdomo in 2024. And again, if that happens, it's going to be a good season. So,
he just said that.
He really said that? Yes.
Okay, so that's it. That's our inaugural game of Did You Really Just Say That? I hope you guys enjoyed that.
I know I enjoyed it. It was really fun coming up with predictions.
I'd love to hear what you guys think of it. And again, if you're ever interested in joining us on Did You Really Just Say That in the future episodes, we're probably just going to do, going forward, we'll do one episode. We're doing those 2 episodes a week. And one of them is going to be more kind of like what we did in the first half of the show, where we discuss a few topics, popular topics of the day. And then the second show, we'll maybe start out with anything that we missed, clean up things that have come up. And then we'll do the Did You Really Just Say That? We want to turn that into a weekly game because that game's so much fun, making those predictions. It's going to start being even better once we start having predictions come off the board. And we get to see the He Really Did Just Say That session, and if they're coming true. And
he really just did that.
He really just did that. Other than that, where can all the people find us, Phoenix?
Well, as you said in the first minute of the show, you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, iTunes.
iTunes, any podcast player.
Yeah, any podcast.
You can search us up, Nerding on the Dbacks, and and
I don't think you need to know that if you're watching this right now, but just in case.
Hey, smash that like, leave us a review on your favorite podcast player, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on TikTok and Twitter. We'd love to have you chat with us about any of our opinions. Let us know what you think of the show. And with that, I'm Dad/Chris.
And I'm Son/Phoenix.
And I want to bid you adieu.
What?
Adieu.
Adieu. All right. Oh, you don't have a Christmas thing on. No.
No jingle bells.
No jingle bells. No jingle bells.
All right, cut that.
Well, what we will give you is our outro. So have fun with that.
All right, bye.
Goodbye.
Nerding on the Dbacks. Woo!
Are we testing this?
No, go ahead.
Can we start over?